Alright, so where we last left off, I was letting glue dry on the fretboard. And currently, I think it's just about cured. It's been sitting for about 18 hours at this point. So I think it'll be maybe not 100%, but at least good enough we can kind of stress this joint around without worrying too much. I've already taken the liberty of cutting the toothpicks that I use to hold it down. And same with the dowels that are up here on the body. So what we'll be working on today is getting the frets cut, placed in. Gonna be finishing up more on the head. And then from there, inlaying it to the, and then from there, inlaying it to the body, getting that gluing process started. Then cutting out the groove for the fretboard on the top piece. Going semi-hollow on this, so we're going to be taking out some of this material, and then that'll probably be the day. Before I get too carried away, like I said, I'm going to be checking and then just going to go ahead and cut these fret locations before I get too far. I do know that since I'm doing this before I'm radiusing, I'm going to have to go through and retouch them up once I'm done. But at this stage, I already have them measured out, so it's going to save me more time if I just go ahead and cut them than if I wait till the end and do it later. Through that, I did have a couple little mistakes down here that I have just did a quick wood glue and dust repair with. Alright, so now I've got this guy clamped down, and what I'm going to do is use my hand planer to make these edges even. Alright, so at this stage we got pretty nice flush lines both sides. So I think we're good to start radiusing. Alright. So since I might need some other stuff for when I start fretting, I am trying to be a little cognizant of my sawdust so I can save it for later. Sand dust, whatever you want to call it. Alright. I think I've done about all I can do there. Looks like most of this has been pretty well cleaned up. I still have a couple spots. Hope to see once I clean it down. Alright, so we'll get started on the inlays. At this stage I did a little bit of repair down the side of the fretboards where I found some gaps. So I think for me, I'm going to, for the first 12, stay on the low side of the fretboard, and for the second, work on the high side of the fretboard rather than just work down the center. So in this case, I have the approximate depth set for where the space between my two lowest strings is going to be. Got all those spaces marked, so I believe what I'm going to do now is center it. So if you don't have one of these, doesn't necessarily need to be StewMag, but an easier way to do this if you have a center point ruler to mark these locations. Got my drill press here set up. I'm thinking I'm going to go with these abalone, or abalone, whatever you want to call them. Just fretboard dots. From the last time I was using it, I already have my 1/4 inch bit set up to its depth. So I'm just going to go through, I'm going to check to make sure that that's going to work, and then go down the rest of them and drill them out. Alright, so I have a few of these that are cut a little bit low, like the first fret here. So what I'm going to be doing is taking some of this sawdust from before that I've already saved, and just getting it under that piece before I fill it with glue, and then lay them back down just to bring them up to the surface, rather than have them sink down below and have to sand the entire fretboard down to that point. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, even on the good ones, I'm going to put a little bit of sawdust in there anyway. Just because. Alright, so right now they're all a little bit above the surface, so we'll just go back to sanding. Gone through, done a little bit of repair work on here for some of my bad cuts. Then I forgot to turn the camera back on when I started center punching my side dots, and had some tear out problems. So I'm going to be running them basically just right into the neck there. Maintain the same color abalone and just kind of working from there. I don't think you guys need to see that. Alright, so got the side dots in, we got all that in place. So at this stage what I'm going to do is start sinking the frets. I do have a couple spots here where the grooves are a little bigger than I would like to be, so for those I'm probably going to use normal super glue, but for the rest I'm going to be using this number 10 wicking glue. I've already curled my fret wire. Sanded off the excess, a little glue that spurted out and I didn't clean off in time. That's where we're looking right now. It's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this ebony, this Texas ebony. In order to do this, the base neck being longer than normal guitar, I'm going to actually support the outside of the head as well as I go through and form all of these lower parts. And round off the neck. And where I'm going to start is I'm going to find my relative center line. So for me, I actually prefer a relatively eccentric neck. I like it to be just a little higher. Than where center would be otherwise. So that should be about my center line there. So I'm going to come up a 1/4 inch. Maybe more like an 1/8. Those of you who may not know, right now my neck is flat, so we're looking at a profile somewhere along the space of this. What I'm going to be doing is just shaving off each corner until I have a nice trapezoidal shape. I'm going to be breaking each of those individual corners. I'm just going to be repeating until I get to the shape that I like, which in general means that I've just barely kissed into the fretboard, and then my top line here has joined. So I've got a few rasps to be doing this with, and spoke shapes. And since I've never actually worked with this wood in this way, I'm probably going to bounce back and forth in between both and see what I like. So, small problem. Can you see it? My aluminum supports are showing on both sides. So I had to kind of go for a normal C profile neck, and I'm gonna need to think about what to do with this. It's not great, but I do think right now this is still salvageable for the work. I'm not sure what to do. I'm gonna have to think about that. I'm gonna have to think about what to do with this. The aluminum is filing evenly with the wood, so my profile feels a little weird and bulky right now. I've gone ahead and just put some plastic wood fill into these grooves here to eat up that space where the aluminum wasn't fully seated yet. So I'm going to need to kind of think about this one for a while and see what I come up with. I think I'll still keep moving forward with the overall design, but I'm going to have to think about how to recover from that. Well, here's what I'm thinking. My current issue with the aluminum coming out of the back here is the profile isn't sanding evenly with the rest of the neck. So around these areas, the aluminum's kind of sticking out just a little bit. So I think I'm going to run with it, and I think I'm going to add aluminum elsewhere to the design, probably up on the headstock. But to do that, what's going to happen, I'm going to file these sections down. So I'm coming in on tangent edge, and I'm just going to sand to it quickly and create a curve. I think that will probably fix most of my problem. In general, the neck profile doesn't feel too bad. It just does feel a little strange right there, where the curvature is not quite right. So I guess at this stage is where I'm going to end the day. We'll finish forming that head and figure out what to do with more aluminum.